Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight Games, Patrick. Patrick? The Spotlight Games,
Patrick?
Welcome to the Spotlight Games, Cayman. I'm your podcast, Patrick, and joining me as always is my host, my sweet dumpster trash, Cayman Darty. How are you, Cayman?
Oh, I'm doing better now that we fucked that intro up.
Hey, did we though?
Honestly, I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either. Today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be reviewing a bunch of shit. We're going to be talking about a bunch of rumors, some true, some made up, or, we're going to figure all that out together. Cayman, I'm excited. We skipped last week. I was a little under the weather, and I needed a break to heal. I'm about 80% today. I'm on my way back. Still weirdly a little not congesty, a little drainy. But hey, I'm here. I don't want to die.
Fair.
And I'm ready to talk about video games.
Normally I would say when you say I don't want to die, I'd be like, good. But honestly, at this point, does it even matter?
Does it even matter?
Does it even matter?
On today's podcast, we're going to ask the question, does it even matter?
Does it even matter? Patrick, I'm doing good, Patrick. We've made some progress on the theater, my in-home theater finally. Yep. I'm really excited about that because I feel like, we've gotten so much done around the house and like it's really coming together. But now, like, seeing like the one thing that I'm like the most excited about, like moving in, is like having my own place to just watch trash cinema films.
Oh yeah, come on, brother.
And be finally getting to a point where I feel like we are inching closer and closer and closer to that reality, Patrick. And I'm like, hey, it's a wild feeling to be like, I'm a homeowner and I can paint an entire room black.
Yeah.
And I can do whatever the fuck I want in it. It feels incredible. So I think, Patrick, I'm doing pretty good.
I mean, that room that you just painted black, you're building equity in that black paint. You know what I mean?
This is the thing is I told Sid, I was like, look, if we move anytime soon, which hopefully we won't. My goal is not to be moving anytime soon.
I would hope not.
Yeah, but I'm like, if we do, we have to have this room finished. We can't just leave it the way it is. Like, it has to be finished. And then we have to have staging photos. It can't be like we've moved out and then you're seeing it, because people are going to have questions. Like, why is your basement painted black?
Yeah.
What are you doing down there?
We need to get you like a really fucking weird statue to put down there so that we can get your house on that Instagram account that's like weird Zillow listings.
Oh, Zillow Gone Wild. Yeah.
Zillow Gone Wild. We need to get you on Zillow Gone Wild. That's the new goal.
I think that's the thing is if you go into our house, you're like, man, this house is really hip. It's a really hip looking house. You guys have like an outdoor fire pit area. You've done all of these inside. It looks very nice inside. It looks what like a house probably should look like.
Sure.
Then you go into the basement. The whole thing is black, right? It is just covered in original vintage 70s and 80s trash cinema posters. And, I found out, Patrick, actually, I asked Sydney, I said, can I have this? Can I get this? And she said, if you want to waste your money on it, whatever. At Lowe's right now, you can buy a 6'6" replica prop animatronic of Jason Voorhees.
Lowe's and Home Depot have the weirdest fucking shit around Halloween.
So I really think that that's what's going to happen is like, it would be one of those where it's like, look at this house. This house is so normal. This is a normal person's house. Pretty hip, normal person. You go into the basement. They're like, what did you fucking do down here?
Yeah. It's not a sex dungeon. It's a trash dungeon.
It is a trash dungeon.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the theater should be called. The trash dungeon.
The trash dungeon. I kind of feel like your house should be like the Trash Cinema Ranch. We need to come up with like a nice little pithy name.
We actually, so that's the whole thing right up here. In like this kind of area where our town that we live in is, well, like not really necessarily our town specifically, but this area, the county we live in, is like a vacation destination for a lot of people. A lot of rich people just have vacation homes up here.
Yeah.
Because we're right next to Lake Raven, right next to Lake Burton. We're technically in Lakemont. It's just a lot of lakes on a mountain. Beautiful vistas. Beautiful up here, right? Everyone, if you get an Airbnb or anything, they all have a name for it, right? So it's like Phillips Lodge or like Black Bear Cove or whatever. So we've come up with ours, and you get a little sign, like a placard you put above the door. That's kind of the thing you do, right? We're going with Black Phillips Lodge.
Phillips Lodge.
We're going Black Phillips Lodge, which is, if you know, you know. It is a reference to Robert Eggers' The Witch. Because they got the Black Phillips, the goat, Satan comes in the form of a goat.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man, we're really leaning into this.
Good.
People shouldn't come here.
Good. You should. And they shouldn't.
They should not.
Yeah. I've not seen the Vavitch.
You should.
But I should. And you know, it's officially August 1st, which means we're one day closer to Halloween, to the best time of the year, spooky movie season.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if my theater's not done by October 1st, like, we're in deep shit.
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the podcast taking an indefinite break.
Yeah.
Because we're just gonna, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. we're just gonna be spanking the dumpster boy and the dumpster girl. So watch out. But speaking of, we're here. It's Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We got a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games podcast, where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod, or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. So be sure to follow us there so that you're notified when we go live. Why, Cayman?
So you can be part of the conversation.
Exactly. Cayman, we've been ranting and raving.
Yeah.
We've been singing our song together. I'm ready to talk about what we've been playing, bro. Today, it's going to be a bit of a mix. It's going to be a bit of a mix of what we've been playing and what we've been watching. You might say, watching? This isn't Spotlight Watch.
You just mean Spotlight TV?
Well, I mean, yes,
fair,
but I mean, there's movies too, right?
Fair.
But think about it for a minute. While I review 2 video games, what we could be talking about that would make sense for this podcast came in when we spoke before we went live. We talked about, I was going to review the game Viewfinder.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bit of a review finder.
Oh, brother.
But today, before we went live, I played a short little game called Venba. Have you heard about this game?
I have not. It sounds exciting, though.
Venba is a game that just came out a few days ago, and I believe it's everywhere. For those of you that are watching live or catching us on the old YouTube later, got some B-roll pulled up. Venba is a game unlike any that I've ever played. And I had a great time. It's like an hour and a half tops to get through the whole thing. But it tells the story of a family that immigrated from India to Canada. And it's just like a story about what it's like to be in a country that you barely speak the language. And like, it tells the story through food. And the kind of the main premise, the main character, Venba is her name. She is the mother of this family, and she has a cookbook from her mother back home.
Okay.
And in the cookbook, there's a lot of things missing. There's like things that have been like ripped out, or oil that got overword. So you don't really, like, sometimes you have to kind of figure out what to do with the recipes. And it like goes into like memories, and it has this like kind of experimentation aspect of it. But it's like, I don't know. It was really lovely. I learned a lot about this like experience and this like specific culture of the people of Tamil, I believe it's how it's pronounced. And I loved it. $15 on PlayStation, probably $15 everywhere. Also on Game Pass. I believe it's on Switch, PC. I actually don't know about mobile, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's on mobile.
Cool.
Really lovely game. Highly recommend if you are interested in just like a nice, touching story about this family. Really low stakes. Cayman, I'm going to get your attention on this one.
Hit me.
Easy platinum.
Oh, brother, you're talking my language now, dog.
Already got the platinum for Venba.
No way. Where are you up to? Do you know now?
I meant to look and then I forgot to. I want to say I'm in the 30s.
Okay.
But
Okay.
maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna pull it up on my old handy dandy PlayStation app while we chat here. But have I sold you on Venba, Cayman?
I think you have. I think I could really go for it because I think one of the things I'm struggling with right now is between working on the house, just my job being absolute chaos constantly. One of the things I'm struggling with is like getting that time to be like, I want to play a game, but I want something so low stakes.
Yeah.
It's not going to like add to my already like insurmountable levels of stress.
Sure.
So that sounds to me like very exciting to have a game that feels that like I can just kind of vibe with. And this sounds like a game like that.
Yeah, it was such a nice experience. And there's some like conversation choices, some dialogue choices, nothing that like changes the game per se, but so like there is like a tiny bit of replay value in that, like, oh, what did the other conversation do?
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, you can get through. So I played the whole game again to get like to do the platinum, because the game itself is like, if you kind of speed through the dialogue that doesn't branch, and you know how to do the recipes, because there's a trophy for not messing up any of the recipes. So that was the one that I needed to get, because there was some experimentation happening in my first playthrough. So I had to go through and fix those. But really lovely game, made me feel things, taught me about a culture I knew next to nothing about.
I love that.
And honestly, like, I could see this end up being in my top 10, just as like, it was just like a lovely experience.
I love
Through
to
and
hear
through.
it.
So definitely recommend Venba for those of you that are interested. And then riding the V train to Viewfinder. This is a game we talked about a few weeks ago. There was a demo that was live on PlayStation, and I'm assuming other places too, but I did it on PlayStation. It's giving Portal. It's giving The Witness, kind of a puzzle driven, bit of a story driven game, but definitely more so on the puzzle side. But the premise, kind of the main feature, in case you missed that episode or don't know anything about Viewfinder, is you have this camera. It's like a Polaroid type camera, and you can take a picture of any part of the environment, and then you can hold up the picture and press a button, and that whatever is on the picture completely takes over where you're holding it up in the space, which might not sound super clear at first. I'm going to pull up some B-roll as well, but it's very much about like finding the right angles and like figuring out how to kind of break the environment with the pictures that you're taking or the pictures that you find. And it tells a bit of a story too. I was really high on it after the review. I enjoyed the game, but it didn't quite live up to my hype after the demo. I wouldn't go as far as to say this is a must play, but if you are into the puzzle genre, if you watching this B-roll, like if you're interested, I say play it. I in no way would I say this is a bad game. It's a beautiful game, like graphically, it's really delightful to see, and some of the puzzles really kind of fuck with your head in like a fun way. And there were only, I think, 2 times in, let's say, 50 puzzles where I was like, I don't believe there's a solution to this. Let me pull out the phone and do a Google. So like The Witness, that was a big hang up for a lot of people. Like that, it was something that I had to do several times with The Witness. Like, I am so stuck that I need to look it up. And it only happened a couple times here, which is, so like, it doesn't make you feel too stupid, essentially. Like the tools it gives you, I feel like it's a nice challenge when you are kind of stuck. And the spaces that you're in are small enough that it's like, okay, there's only so much space here, so the answer has to be within arm's reach. So it kind of sometimes challenged me to, like, you know what, put the phone down, turn away from Google, let's figure this out. And so my biggest hang up with it, though, is it tries to tell a story that just didn't captivate me. It was told in a very kind of indirect, put the pieces together yourself way, that it's not that I walked away like I don't understand the story it was telling. I just feel like they didn't have a super strong story to tell. And more so, they were. Sure, I understand. Siri, let me tell you. So I'm trying to tell you right now what you don't understand about Viewfinder. It felt like more so to me that they were like, let's make a really cool puzzle game, and maybe got some feedback like, these puzzles are great, but I need more. And they're like, oh, let's throw in a story. That's total conjecture. Like, if someone making this game watches this, maybe that's so offensive to say. Maybe they're like, the whole point was the story. Didn't hit me like I think they wanted it to. And that's, I was a little disappointed in that. Don't think this will crack my top 10 for the year. But like I said, if you're big on puzzles, if you really like Portal and you want something Portal adjacent that's not going to blow your mind like Portal did from top to bottom, I would say play Viewfinder. But if puzzles really piss you off, or they just don't, they're not super fun, like, I don't think this is a Cayman game.
Okay.
I don't think Viewfinder is a Cayman game.
Sure. Then that's fair.
Not that it's hard. I don't think there's enough there for you to want to push through some of the puzzles and be like, this is awesome. I would say play the demo. That's enough, because you get the, like, you have that aha moment of like, wow, I can't believe that they do this. But it just ultimately didn't go a lot past that. Wow, I can't believe they did this feeling, unfortunately.
Sure. I feel
again, not a bad game, but not a must play.
I feel that, Patrick. Can I tell you?
I would love for you to, Cayman.
So, look, here's the thing. I've had the last 2 weekends. I've had my 2 weekends ago, I had my nephews and my youngest niece stay with us. And then last weekend, I had my oldest niece stay with us. And we played a lot of video games. But these are all games that we've talked about before.
Sure.
Like, no one wants to hear me talk about sports, the Switch sports. They don't want to hear me talk about Shredder's Revenge. They don't want me to talk about Lego Star Wars.
Sure.
We've talked about all of that.
Go back to episode 59.
Yeah, brother. Let me tell you about something I watched instead.
Tell me.
I binged through the entirety of the new Twisted Metal show on Peacock over the last 2 days. That's how quickly I burned through
turnaround.
This entire show. Now, here's the thing. This is currently streaming on Peacock right now.
The cock.
10 episodes. Each episode's right about 30 minutes long. Super quick to get through the show. Like, I'm telling you, like, we did it in 2 nights. Just bing, bang, boom.
Oh, for sure. There are James Cameron movies longer than this entire season.
Yeah. So super quick to get through this. I think one of the best ways, the best reviews I've seen was IGN summed it up by saying something along the lines of, this show is so stupid that it works.
Sure.
And I think when you approach something, because I had a lot of reservations going into, like, how the hell do you make a Twisted Metal TV show? A lot of reservations about that. Is the thing is, you have to lean into the absurdity of what Twisted Metal is. And I think what Twisted Metal does so well is that it is so fucking stupid.
It's so dumb,
but so much fun. And I have some things that I think didn't work for me personally, but I think actually elevate the show up even more. And that is the fact that, like, if you are going into a Twisted Metal anything and you know anything about Twisted Metal, you're expecting crazy cars blowing shit up all over each other.
Yeah.
And you get that. But the way that they do it is they break it up. A lot of these big set piece moments of these huge cars. So like the first episode, you're going to get like almost exclusively all car stuff.
Right.
And then they sprinkle more of it through to keep like those like action focused people that are like here for it. They sprinkle those moments in to like keep that driving forward. But they also sprinkle in a lot of like actual human stories, which I thought were it was very interesting to me that they kind of went that approach. I appreciated it because what happened was by the time we got to the end, Sydney was not sold when we started it. But by the end, Sydney was like, I actually been really enjoying this because I actually really enjoy these characters. And there's some just really great moments, like really great character moments, especially like one of my personal favorite is like the story arc of Sweet Tooth through the whole show. I wish there was more Sweet Tooth, to be honest, but I think it could be a bit much if he's just there constantly.
Sure.
So having him be like every moment he reappears and when they start like picking his story up more are just, it's so fucking hilarious. Like it is so funny. He is great. He's played physically by Samoa Joe, pro wrestler, which dad, huge wrestler back in the 90s. Love the old Samoa Joe. And he's voiced though by Will Arnett, and which is really funny to me. And I think it really works because Will Arnett's like just perfect as a psychopath. And he's a huge mountain of a dude, psychopath voice, fits perfectly. But I think the reason that like this is going to catch people who watch this show that don't know anything about Twisted Metal is going to be the moments between Anthony Mackie's character and Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, whose name I can't remember.
Stephanie Beatrice.
Why is it Brittany? Stephanie Beatrice and Anthony Mackie. I think the two of them have really good chemistry together. And as the season progresses, like the two of them, like you really get to like you get invested in their personal character arcs and like their story. The big season finale is fucking amazing. And I think the big thing, and this is where I think things don't go sideways for me, but like end up in a situation where I get very nervous is like this season sets up like something incredible.
Really?
And I don't know if we're ever going to get it.
Yeah.
Because timing right now.
And also, are people going to watch it?
Yeah. And that's, I think the thing is like, if you got Peacock, like I implore you to watch it, get a trial and watch it. I think if you're a video game fan, you're not going to get a lot of the car stuff. You're going to get enough of it to keep you satiated. But if you're a fan of Twisted Metal, this show is littered with Easter eggs. Every single episode, there's a moment that I was like, Sydney, because I like love Twisted Metal as a kid. And I was like, and I'm like, oh, this is this game. And Sydney's like, shut the fuck up, Cayman. I do not care. Like, I do not want you to explain the history and lore of Twisted Metal to me.
Yeah.
But like when you get there and you like that big season finale and it sets up like this huge moment, you're like, okay, season 2 is where this show is going to like absolutely go off rails in the best possible way. And I worry that they're not going to renew it for another season.
Well, I will say step 1, they already passed with flying colors, which is the reviews are mostly positive. And that was, when we were kind of talking about this on the show, very first time it came out with the trailer, we were like, and then we kind of saw more and we were like, and then by the end it was like, you know what, we're both in.
Yeah,
let's see what happens. And so as long as the viewers are there, which honestly it seems like they are, but it's hard to really tell. See, I've seen 5 episodes, and I will say, as someone who never really played Twisted Metal, I played some at friends' houses, but like not having a PlayStation as a kid, I really missed out on like the lore of these characters. Like, not that there's like a ton of it, obviously, but like I know Sweet Tooth, I know the cop. I recognize in one of the episodes there's like a girl in like an F1 car. Like I recognize the F1 car. Like there were, and like so there have been ones that I've recognized, but as a whole, most every reference I'm not getting.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm missing out a little bit on that. Like I do wish, it feels like there's a piece missing at times for me because of that. But I do think that they're doing a good enough job of not requiring you to know any of this.
Oh no, 100%.
To still enjoy the show.
Yeah.
So that's good too.
Yeah, it's all fan. Like I think that's why the show like hit for Sydney and I, is because for me, as someone who grew up playing Twisted Metal and really just enjoyed that whole like car combat shtick it had, the lore of Twisted Metal, it shockingly runs deep. And if you play the games, you like grew up on them, like these Easter eggs work for you. But someone like Sydney, who knows absolutely nothing about it, she was like, oh, I just really enjoyed the fact that like I like these characters. Like Sweet Tooth's really funny, and him and Stu, when those two get together, it's really, really funny. And just like it has a lot of weird elements to it that shouldn't work, but it does. And so I think it really can. Like I think it will. I think the one audience that's going to miss out that's going to be probably not as in tune are the ones that went into it expecting like, I know nothing about the show. I don't really or I know nothing about the lore. I don't really care too much about these characters or the human part of this. I just want to see cars explode. Sure. And I think they, towards the middle of the show, might get a little bit like, okay, I want to see more.
100%.
It's super over the top gory. And there's some funny, like there's genuinely a couple moments, especially towards the end of the show, the end of the season. There's a couple moments. There's one scene in particular that was like, this is The Boys. Like it's like Peacock. There's like one scene in particular. I was like, this is Peacock's The Boys right now. Yeah. And I laughed so hard watching it. And so for me right now, my big thing is like, I just like definitely just go watch it. Just go watch it. Give it a shot. See what you think. And look, if you make it a couple episodes in, they're so short and you're like, it's not for me. Totally okay. Yeah. Like give it a shot. You might find that you actually turn out to like really enjoy it. And yeah, I think right now for me, really thought I had a really good time with it. I think it's did everything I wanted it to. Maybe a little bit things I wanted a little bit more of, maybe a little less of the other. But ultimately, I think my biggest worry is it's just we're not going to get another season.
Sure. Honestly, my biggest takeaway, and again, I've only seen half of it, but my biggest takeaway is the team on the TV and film side of PlayStation Studios is doing such a good job adapting their games. Because I feel like this is the right kind of adaptation for a game like Twisted Metal, just like The Last of Us was the right kind of adaptation for that game. Gives me like hope that the Gran Turismo movie can actually be decent. I mean, the trailers make it look like an enjoyable enough movie. Like it's not one that I'm going to be seeing in theaters, but they obviously didn't do great with Uncharted, but I think there was a lot of, I mean, it was one of their first things that they did, if not the first major thing that they did as the PlayStation Studios arm. And we already know that they're, strike withstanding, doing the Horizon show, we got a War show. Like they've obviously started investing a fuck ton of money into TV and film with their IP. And like, I'm just really impressed that this show could have been so embarrassingly bad.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
That's a win enough for
it. 100% could be the Halo show.
It absolutely could have been the Halo show, which is absolute dog shit.
Can we just say, Patrick, I think video game adaptations are currently having a renaissance.
I mean, it is a golden age.
Sonic, Mortal Kombat did it incredibly well, and they've actually got some huge names attached to the sequel that they're maybe not anymore. I don't know how far into filming they got. Mario movie did incredibly well.
It was
The
really
Last
good.
of Us, this show did really well. Like, sky's the limit right now, dude.
Yeah. And that only does good things for video games because it brings more people into the sphere to buy consoles, buy games, make the market do good things. So yeah, check it out. And let us know what you think. mail@spotlightgames.net or DM us on our socials. Cayman.
Yeah.
There are some rumors. We're taking a left turn out of Review Town to go to the rumor mill.
Ooh.
Cayman. We're going to the rumor mill. First rumor up on the docket. Nintendo targeting a 2024 release date for their next gen console. Pulling from Andy Robinson at VGC. Development kits for Nintendo's next console are now with key partner studios, with launch planned for next year, sources have told VGC. According to multiple people with knowledge of Nintendo's next-gen console plans, the company is likely to release new hardware during the second half of 2024 to ensure that it has ample stock available on day one and to avoid the kind of shortages seen with PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Although specific details on the console are being kept closely guarded, those VGC spoke to indicated that the next-gen console would be able to be used in portable mode, similar to the Nintendo Switch. Two sources VGC spoke to suggested that the console would launch with an LCD screen instead of the more premium OLED in order to bring down costs, especially considering the increased storage needed for higher fidelity games. The current Switch comes with just 32 gigabytes of internal memory, with many current PlayStation and Xbox games being over 100 gigabytes on their own. Like its predecessor, the new Nintendo console will also accept physical games via a cartridge, sources said. Other details, such as backwards compatibility support for Switch games, physical and digital, remains unclear. Patrick editorializing, even though there was that report a few weeks ago that Nintendo seems to want to do the backwards compatibility. These sources, I guess, could not confirm that. Mm-hmm. Andy finishes the article out with, Nintendo has said it wants to convert as many of Switch's 100 million plus user base as possible to its next system. You think? Although some third-party publishers are said to have expressed concern that legacy support for Switch games could negatively affect sales of next-gen titles. Cayman, we got a lot to talk about here. We got a lot of questions. We got a lot of thoughts. My first question to you, Cayman. Mm-hmm. What do you think they call this thing? Do we think we keep the Switch brand, or do we think, obviously, if they, I guess the question is, do you think it stays Switch something? If so, what? Or do you think it's a new something to name this console? How Wii U went to Switch instead of Wii U 3.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't be shocked if they do a play on Switch. So it's like the Wii U, but it would be like the Switch, Switch U. Something like that. I could definitely see that. I mean, I think that what gets me, this is what gets me here. And this is a conversation I've been seeing some people having online. I think it's a very interesting conversation. Is that Nintendo, at least going from, I would even say the GameCube, Patrick.
Yeah.
Like, they've been very gimmick based in their consoles. The GameCube, and people were going, Cayman, what the fuck are you talking about with the GameCube? Does anyone remember that the GameCube had a fucking handle?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Oh, I sure do.
Did you know this, Patrick, that the GameCube originally was going to, and then they cut it at the last minute due to design issues of the fact that it cost too much, was actually going to have a flip up screen where you could play it you wouldn't have it to connect it to a TV.
What if I told you, Cayman? I don't know that I've talked about this on the podcast. I might have, though. They ended up selling that separately down the line as an add-on.
Did they now?
And we bought one.
No fucking way.
For car trips down to Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
And it fucking was awesome.
That's fucking dope. So that brings me back to the thing of like, Nintendo is gimmick based. And I think Nintendo has to remain gimmick based going forward. I don't think, unless and we've talked, I think we had conjecture about this the other day. Maybe this didn't make it live on air, but we talked about the fact that Nintendo, if they want to keep up with Sony and Microsoft, like, one of the big things is for them to be able to accomplish that, they would have to create a console that could withstand games that were 122 gigs higher,
right?
And I just don't foresee that being the case, especially if they want to continue going portable, right?
Right.
And I don't think they want to limit this to being like, no, you can play these games, but you can only do it cloud, because then that's going to cut into their market.
I agree. I've been thinking about that specific aspect of it, because if they want to keep it portable, which I think is a great call, it's a huge thing that differentiates them from both Xbox and PlayStation. I mean, because Xbox and PlayStation have seen the success of the Switch, and PlayStation is coming out with its own portable PlayStation 5 adjacent thing via streaming, obviously, and Xbox has really kind of invested in their own, third-party developed cloud-based handhelds. So like, they see the value in handhelds, but they obviously aren't going the route of our systems can natively do it. It's something that sets the Switch apart, and I think Nintendo is smart to continue that. But the point I'm making is, I wonder if on this new version of the Switch, if they make it to where there are games that are mandatory in docked mode. And I wonder if that's the way they get around it. If they build a console strong enough where the dock brings in some horsepower on those docked only games, so that you can play Call of Duty, which is going to be on Switch moving forward, or rather on Nintendo consoles moving forward, so that you can play a new Assassin's Creed game, so that you can play XYZ and all the above. I wonder if that's a route that they go.
That very
with the
well
new console.
Yeah, and that very well could be. That could just be a situation. It would be really cool if they could do it where it's like you can play it in dock mode, or you can do it via cloud if you have an internet connection, so you can take it on the go. But I don't know. But I think like that's the thing is I think whatever they name it will be directly tied to whatever gimmick it is.
Sure.
If this is just a much more powerful version of the Switch, then I would keep the Switch name and do something like the Switch X or like the Switch,
I mean, I kind of feel like it should just there's been we've even said on this show before, like the internet has come up with the name the Super Nintendo Switch or the Super Switch, which like is fun. It's a fun name, but honestly, I think you just call it the Switch 2. Yeah. If the gimmick is portable and not portable, if you can switch on and off like that, I think if that stays true, just call it the Switch 2. I think is the easiest thing. They're not gonna fucking call it the Switch U. I guarantee you that.
No, I like the idea of like the Super Switch where it's
Switch is fun. Like that would be the one I would want.
It would be like a nice little a little callback to going from the Nintendo Entertainment System to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Like that's kind of cool, and I would love it if they kind of build into the marketing that like some kind of thing like that, where it's like we're gonna give you like a new set of colors for your Joy-Cons to differentiate something interesting like that makes it feel like an evolution.
Yeah,
but still retaining what it is in theory.
Right, and I think if that kind of idea of you can play bigger games, but you have to do it in the dock is a way like that's the super part of it, right? Like now we can actually play these bigger games, but if you still want to go play Tears of the Kingdom or whatever the new Zelda game is on the go, you can still do that. So I don't know. It's one of those things where like it fits a little too well, perhaps, as you kind of come up with the theory. But I think it'd be cool. Second question for you, Cayman. Originally, we've talked many times on the show your prediction of it coming this year with the Mario game.
Yeah, not happening.
Right. All I wanted to do is bring it up to say you're wrong. No,
thanks.
No, the reason I'm bringing it up is now we're getting Mario Wonder, the new 2D platformer in October. Do you think what we're going to call the Super Nintendo Switch comes with a new 3D Mario, or do you think that's too close together with Wonder at this point? What other games do you think this launches with? Let's talk about launch games.
I don't think it matters. Nintendo historically have treated their 2D Marios as just something, right? It is what it is. They hype the fuck out of it, and those games are normally really, really good. But it's not like it doesn't impact them releasing something else. I did have a theory. This is actually before I even saw this rumor. I'm going to throw this out here. You ready?
Throw it.
We are going to get with the launch. I'm making a prediction before we make our predictions.
I hope it's not. I hope what you're about to predict isn't what I also want to predict. But you're going to say it first. So if you say it first, you get it.
We're going to get a new 3D Donkey Kong.
Whoa. Not what I was going to say, but I like it.
Well, you got to think, man, the last traditional Donkey Kong, or just a Donkey Kong game that we've gotten that hasn't just been like fucking sports related or car related.
Yeah.
Was Tropical Freeze that came out on the Wii U.
And you know what's really interesting about that, Cayman? That studio hasn't made a single game since Tropical Freeze.
Dude, are we about to get a Donkey Kong 64 version of Donkey Kong and it's going to be amazing?
I mean, I think that's very possible because I was thinking about potentially them just doing like the next evolution of Tropical Freeze because that game sold so well and critically did so well. But yeah, go the 3D route, doggy dog. Like, let's fucking get it. Let's bring in Funky Kong on some 3D fucking shenanigans.
Lanky Kong, brother.
Let's get funky. Let's get lanky. I dig it. No, what I was going to say was I bet the new Super Nintendo Switch 3DS version 2 comes out with a new Animal Crossing game at launch.
I love it.
You know what gets people to go out and buy the next fucking Switch? Especially people that got a Switch because of Animal Crossing and COVID. Animal Crossing.
Well, with rumors abound that we're going to just keep this rumored meal going. Apparently, we're going to get hit with another bastard of a wave of COVID soon. So,
I mean, that's not surprising. It's been going around a lot lately.
Yeah. So, look, man. Here's the one thing that throws me with that is that and this is just, I think, Nintendo as a just Nintendo issue. It's a Nintendo issue. I don't think Nintendo gives a flying fuck about any of their IP.
In what way? I don't know that I agree, but I'm interested in hearing the angle.
We got Metroid Dread. Awesome. Love to hear it. Love to see it. Where's Metroid 4?
Well, that is, I mean, they rebooted it. Like they restarted it because apparently it was so bad in development.
I'm not done yet, Patrick. Star Fox.
Well, can I drop some truth?
Feel free.
Star Fox fucking sucks.
Okay, that's a lie.
Star Fox, it needs to be dead. What's your next point?
F-Zero.
F-Zero should be back.
Okay, here's the thing. They've got incredible line of IP. Just look at Smash Bros.
Yeah.
They've got so much great IP, and they just don't really ever throw any of it out there outside of like Mario and Zelda, or like these are too big. It would be like if Sony were just like, we're gonna release 2 games and that's it for now until like for 3 console generations. We're gonna release 7 different versions of God of War games, one of them being kart racing and one of them being soccer.
And well, don't forget Atreus Mansion, where it's this game where you get to be Atreus in a spooky game.
And then they're like, and then we're gonna give you every few years, we're gonna give you a Zelda game. Or if Sony's senses, they're just like, all right, every 7 years, you're gonna get fucking Spider-Man or something. You're just like, oh, come on, guys. Like, give me like, but then again, I say that, but then if you look at it, like Sony has also let a lot of IP just sit on the ripe or sit on the vine too, where they're like, hey, we're just gonna like, we're not really gonna talk about Infamous anymore. That's just something that existed.
Well, that's because they started making Ghost of Tsushima and that game fucking rules.
True.
But here's my counter to the Nintendo point. I think I agree with you to a point, but I think in a way that serves them, because they, like, when you look at Smash, fucking 90 million characters, they do every now and then bring out, like, going to the 3DS, a new Kid Icarus game. Every now and then they'll bring out that like really kind of C tier, D tier title every like 10 years. And I think partially because they've been kind of filling the gaps with like re-releasing and remaking stuff. Like I'm thinking of the Metroid Prime re-release as in terms of the 3D Metroid Prime kind of buffer until we get 4. Like I feel like when you have so many things to pull from, I think there's only so much they can do. But I hear you. Like it is definitely the Mario and Zelda show for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think, and I know we got much more to talk about, but I think if I'm launching a brand new one, I mean, you got to stack it with something big.
I mean, Metroid Prime 4 might be it too.
Yeah, Metroid. I think Metroid Prime 4, but you also want to hit that niche, that not niche audience, but that like round audience. And I don't think a Tropical Freeze 2 hits that, right? I think that's going to be a game that's going to hit like those people who are like, I love this type of game, because that game is hard as hell. And I think something like a 3D Mario that's more kid-friendly, but also 3D Donkey Kong would be more kid-friendly and be a little bit better, you know? So I think something like that, you're going to have to. And then, you know, I don't want them to, but like I'm assuming it's probably going to launch with a brand new Pokemon game, especially if it is a Q4 release and they're looking at like, you know, or looking at the end of 2024, like if it is a holiday release, Pokemon lines up, like you might be able to get. But then again, with Pokemon, with how janky even though I loved it, how janky Scarlet Violet were. I'm also like, you need to give Game Freak more time to like actually work on these games. You're like, they're burning the candle at both ends trying to pull that timeline off.
It does make me wonder, Mario Wonder. That's the last like known really big release at the moment for Switch, but there's no way they go 12 months without a big release. So I wonder if for next year, if this next console is the first time in a long time where we see a lot of crossover at the beginning for games. Because like usually there's the you go back to last gen, there's the Breath of the Wild on both. You go to the gen before that, Twilight Princess on both. I wonder if this gen there's a handful of titles, like they bring whatever the next Mario is on both, or whatever the next, like I could see there potentially being a bit of
could be Mario Kart 9.
Oh, I think we absolutely get Mario Kart 9 at the beginning of this next console, because that team also hasn't done anything new other than the new courses for Mario Kart 8 and the length in which it's taking them to release these small boosters tells me that that is a small team working on these boosters, because the main team is working on Mario Kart 9.
I would love to see like a Mario Kart Ultimate where we get like a Smash Bros. Ultimate kind of style Mario Kart release where it's like, this game is going to launch with like 28 characters and we're just adding more.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm fucking in.
Plug it in, brother.
Yeah, there's, I'm sure the next 12 months of Spotlight Games will be full of rumors, and then once it's confirmed, we're going to be talking about this next Nintendo console a lot. And I can't wait. But what I want to talk about now is another rumor from the rumor mill. The mill is spinning, it's turning, it's churning and burning, because apparently Elder Scrolls Oblivion is getting a remake. That's according to Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. In a now since deleted Reddit post, an alleged former employee of Virtuous Games has leaked that the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion has a remake in development. Screenshotted and reported by Xfire, the leak states that several projects are in the works at the Virtuous Studio. Typically, we wouldn't report on rumors posted to a Reddit page without any independent verification. However, a mod to the r/gaming leaks and rumors subreddit suggested that they verified proof that the leaker was indeed a former employee of Virtuous Games. So there's a huge caveat to this story. Maybe this is all complete bullshit, but it's still fun to speculate. According to the leak, the remaster is running using both Unreal Engine 5, and Oblivion could release by the end of 2024 or early 2025. No details on what platforms the game would release on were provided. In addition to the news of the Oblivion remake, the leaker also revealed details on several other projects from the studio. Apparently, Project Alter is the code name for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Project Massive is a AAA title described as Monster Hunter Cross Shadow of the Colossus. Project Cobra is the previously announced a couple months ago or last month Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Project Ominous is described as a narrative climbing game, whatever that means.
Interesting.
And then apparently they're working on a new DLC expansion for a game called New World. But obviously the most interesting piece here is the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake. What do you make of this, Cayman?
Here's the thing that I think we need to take into consideration with Redditors. It's probably true.
Sure.
They take, especially mods, they take that shit serious. Like it's like a second job or a first job for some of these people.
Yeah.
So if one of those mods were to be like, no, I verified all of this and yes, this is accurate, I would be hard pressed to be like, I don't believe any of it.
Yeah.
It also makes sense. I don't know. There's a lot here that makes sense. People have been clamoring for an Oblivion remake for forever. Pretty much from the time it came out and the next console release, they wanted a new one, right?
Right.
I could definitely see it. It also makes a ton of sense that they would be using Unreal Engine 5 to build it, which is the way the state of gaming is, especially for stuff like that. I think Unreal Engine 5 is a solid engine to work off of, because it's and don't get me wrong, I don't know how to make games. I barely know how to wipe my own ass. But from what I've read and what I've seen from a lot of people talking about it, is that Unreal is why you see a lot of like super, super, super low budget indie games. using Unreal is because it's so user friendly.
Cool.
So if you have a team like this that's like, okay, we know how to make games, and this is a remake, and we already have like existing shit to work off of. Using Unreal Engine just makes their lives a hell of a lot easier. They're not building an engine from the ground up, right?
Sure.
Now, don't get me wrong, still going to be difficult. Doing anything is difficult, especially when you're doing that and of that size and pedigree. My thing that gets me is like, at no point is Bethesda even mentioned, like even remotely mentioned in any of this. And that's where I'm like, huh. Like I get a little bit on this is like, I'm shocked that this would be something that, don't get me wrong. I don't think Bethesda has any teams that they could pass this over to right now with everything else.
Busy.
Yeah. So it is interesting to me. I'm like, okay, well, Bethesda's not mentioned in the slightest. So they're hiring a third party, but Bethesda is owned by Microsoft. So Microsoft is trusting a third party.
The reason that this I think is also a slam dunk is that, they've been on record. Todd Howard's been on record. Phil Spencer's been on record saying we're not getting Elder Scrolls 6 for a while. Starfield's going to have legs. They're going to be making shit for Starfield for a long time. And then Elder Scrolls is going to take fucking at least 6 years to make. I'm sure they already have people working on it in some capacity, but they've said as of like a month or two ago, it's at the very least 5 years or more out. If this were to come out next year, that is a great way to appease Elder Scrolls fans for the next few years. Like Oblivion is a game that, you're anywhere between like casual to like more than casual Elder Scrolls fans probably haven't touched since it came out. And maybe they're Skyrim'd out. Maybe Starfield doesn't speak to them because they don't like the space thing. So they do have Avowed coming out, which looks to be very Elder Scrolls like, but I would love to go around in Elder Scrolls for Oblivion, and I think a lot of people would too. So that I think that also is kind of another piece of this, that since we're not getting 6 for a really long time, I think that this would totally make sense. But it is interesting that they would be bringing in a completely different studio. But I tell you what, man, if Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake hits, and then this comes out and this hits, Bluepoint 2.0 over here with Virtuous.
I've pulled up Virtuous and their whole list of games, things that they've worked on, games co-developed, or mainly it's just a lot of games co-developed. Let me give you some highlight reels. You ready? The Dying Light Platinum Edition for Nintendo Switch. The Callisto Protocol, the Nier Automata Nintendo Switch. They worked on Outriders. Let's see here. They worked on Marvel's Midnight Suns, Destroy All Humans. A lot of Switch games. They did the Outer Worlds port for Switch. They helped work on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, it seems like they've not really done anything on their own, really.
Yeah, everything looks like things that they have co-developed. One of my personal favorites is Pimp My Ride Street Racing for the PlayStation 2.
Let's go.
Yeah,
But it's an interesting thought, though. Like, if this is being licensed out by Microsoft, and Microsoft is the one kind of okaying this, Bluepoint is PlayStation's remake house to a certain extent. Would make sense that Microsoft would want to get in on that for their IP too.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of this that makes sense. And I think I will be surprised if this doesn't happen, because we've gotten Skyrim in so many iterations that I don't think remaking Skyrim would be the move.
Oh, fuck no.
But Oblivion is like, again. I would play it again too, but Oblivion, the way that Skyrim was built with all the mods that it now has, like, it kind of has already been remade via mods. Sure. Like, there's so many things that can make it souped up already. And Oblivion and Morrowind too are the Elder Scrolls games that have just kind of like been forgotten about. because of Skyrim. So this is exciting for me. And especially if they can time it right and this falls in a time where there's not a lot coming out. Ooh.
I think if you can drop this at like early 2025, like this would be like a perfect, gives enough time for Starfield to really stretch its legs. You're not like impeding on any of its DLC. Then you turn around and you drop Oblivion. I think that's a slam dunk.
Fucking slam dunkaroonie,
at
dog.
least 5 million copies.
Because also, if you're watching the video, I mean, just look at this game looks old as fuck now. This is the original reveal trailer. It looks like it has Vaseline on the camera.
That's not Vaseline.
Fucking, how you know it. Fucking give me a remake of this already. Fucking Uriel Septim, Sean Bean voice acted, fucking Patrick Stewart voice acted. Let's go, doggy dog.
Yeah. Do you think they bring him back before they die?
Pooh.
You know Patrick Stewart's got to be getting there.
Oh, I mean, less than 10 for sure. Got to be. God
Easy.
rest. God rest.
R.I.P. already, brother.
R.I.P. already, brother. Fucking clip that out whenever he does. Someone drop that on Twitter for us. Cayman, we've talked about some sweet rumors. I want to make our own rumor, and it might sound like this is a bit, but the fact is, I don't think it's a bit. Okay. I think this has the potential of being a real rumor.
Okay.
This segment is called Spotlight Games Makes Up a Rumor, though.
I love it.
Within the last 2 weeks, Cayman, I don't remember the exact day because I didn't necessarily plan on making a bit about this until I realized half the show was talking about rumors. And I was like, you know what? We should talk about this. But I didn't see anybody reporting on this. So this might be a Patty special.
Oh, okay.
Within the last 2 weeks, Cayman, have you ever heard of an actress called Zendaya?
I have.
Famously, you're not a fan of her work.
Is it Zendaya or Zendaya?
It is Daya. Zendaya.
Okay.
I love Zendaya. I think she's very talented.
Sure.
She posted on her Instagram story, Cayman, video from her iPhone. I'm just assuming it's an iPhone. She doesn't have a fucking. She's not one of these Android perverts.
Losers, no.
Yeah. Video of The Last of Us Part 2. And on this story, she posted it tagging Hunter Schafer, who is her co-star on Euphoria, saying, playing our favorite game.
Was he the one that died?
No, that is Angus Cloud. May he rest in peace. Hunter Schafer is a woman.
Okay.
And she was.
I've never.
I know you've never seen Euphoria.
Episode.
She plays Jules in the show. She's a trans woman.
Okay. Cool.
But great actor. Sorry, great actress. Although actually
you can. That's very that was gender neutral.
That was me just trying not to misgender somebody.
Sure. No, I appreciate it.
Saying playing our favorite game. And I want to say, Cayman, something about this doesn't feel like The Last of Us Part 2 really is Zendaya or Hunter Schafer's favorite game. Something tells me they're doing a little research, and something tells me Hunter Schafer might be Abby in The Last of Us Season 2. There's the HBO connection. Hunter Schafer got muscles.
Yeah.
Hunter Schafer blonde.
Okay.
Hunter Schafer would be a great Abby.
I dig it.
I'm just saying, I think I'm making up a rumor, breaking a scoop that Hunter Schafer is in consideration to be Abby in Season 2 of The Last of Us.
I like it. I've never watched a single episode of Euphoria, but I know you have, and I trust your opinion on these things. I still really love the idea of Brie Larson busting out the muscles. I think she might have aged out of the role.
I think that's true.
I think she might have, and not being an ageist at all. But Abby, I think, is what, like mid-20s, give or take, and I think Brie Larson's just a little bit, a little bit too old. But look, man, if you want to do it, I mean, feel free. But I like that. I like that.
I think it works, and I think Hunter Schafer 24. Okay. So she's got the age on her side. She could be Abby for a few years. For several, in fact. And because being 24, I think could also be young Abby
That's a smart move too.
I'm just saying, if the shoe fits, wear it.
Can I just say one thing, and this might come across cross, but I'm gonna say it. I for her sake, I kind of wish that's not true. Because
I've thought about that.
You know, and look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. I think that's awesome. Like I definitely think. I just know how horrendous video game people can be. Like, well, video game fans are terrible people.
Right. And you might remember, or for those that, you know, that might not know, when Last of Us 2 came out, the fucking trolls on the internet were saying, like, claiming Abby was a trans character, which she wasn't. And so I'm sure like that, but at the same time, one, obviously they were fucking gross people and were wrong, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Mazin, Neil Druckmann, and HBO were like, fuck them.
Yeah,
this is the right casting choice. But it would be, I'm sure there would be a corner of the internet that would be fucking gross about it. However, they're already gross about everything and terrible people. So
you know, and I think now that actually we've brought that out, I think that might actually be like not only a bold move, and like I think it's a bold move in a really positive way.
Yeah.
Because I think you're reclaiming something there, right? Like you're pushing back on this negative bullshit narrative that I think a lot of fanboys get, right? Where they're terrible people and they're super toxic and they say horrible shit. You take that, right? And you stick in that move, you stick it back in their face.
Sure.
Though I think my point is more of like, I don't wish the mental health abuse that will come to this person if that does happen. Like, that just sucks. But then again, the truth is, whoever plays Abby is going to get verbally abused online.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who it is. It's just, that's just how this is going to play out. And I think that's the one drawback of like this story is I didn't, do me wrong, I love the Last of Us Part 2 story. I think it's, honestly, I think it's incredible how they do a lot of that stuff and how they tell this overarching story and how emotional it can be. But that's the one thing. It just sucks. It's like, man, I just feel so. I forget who it wasn't. Ashley, was it Ashley Birch?
No, it was Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey. Just the abuse that she got online for it was just obviously uncalled for. But like,
you know,
I'm too weak of a person. I couldn't do that. And maybe that's my problem is I'm too weak of a person to be able to comprehend a world in which you have that level of vitriol just spewed at you. Still to this day, you know.
No, for sure. Yeah. Now I think perhaps though, I don't know. I mean, we're thinking out loud here. I wonder if this is the only way that we can ever fix that culture though.
Could be
actually like shutting that shit down and being like, no, fuck you. Like,
yeah. And I think a lot of it is, and if you look historically at any social movement, a lot of it starts with like taking control of the narrative and taking that anger and hate towards you and then flipping and subverting it back and being like, no, you know, we are bigger than this. And I think that is a great opportunity, I think. And if someone is, and, you know, hopefully this, you know, whoever it is that ends up being, and if your rumor is true, Patrick, that this actress, that she can, you know, that she can do that. And I think that's a fucking movement, dog. That's a fucking movement.
The one thing that makes me reconsider it is the, you know, to very, very lightly dance around a spoiler of The Last of Us Part 2. There is trans representation in that story already.
That's true. That's true.
And not that there can't be more than one trans character. That's not the point I'm making. But Abby like plays a role in that story. And so that would just, that part of the story would change is kind of my own, is the point I'm making. And so, but like, I don't see why it couldn't change. But I can see maybe them being like,
does it fucking matter?
Right. That's kind of, like, doesn't, like,
you know, like
changing it doesn't really matter.
This actress could literally, I mean, you know, I don't know why I'm even having to try to explain this, but like, this person's a person, you know, like who fucking cares? Get fucked.
Yeah.
That would be my sign off. Get fucked.
Get fucked.
Get fucked.
But yeah, so all of that to say, Spotlight Games makes up a rumor, but I do actually. Hunter Schafer is now my leading choice for Abby because she's really fucking good in Euphoria, and I think she'd be a great Abby.
I respect it.
But maybe they just actually do love The Last of Us Part 2, and this is all complete bullshit.
I mean, it's a great game.
But hey, that's what podcasting is, baby.
Making up shit.
Cayman, let's bring us home with a little calendar update.
Yeah.
We're more than halfway through the year, but shit's still coming out. And we got new games coming to PS Plus. We got new games coming to Game Pass. And we got new updates coming to games that we love and talk about on the show. First and foremost, Dead by Daylight. Getting an update. Xenomorph from Alien.
Baby.
The next killer. Getting more details on the 8th. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so Dead by Daylight released a teaser trailer today. Xenomorph will be coming as the next killer to Dead by Daylight. August 8th, they will be announcing more information. One of the hot rumors on the street, and we don't know this until the 8th, they've been very cagey, but they have more details surrounding it, is that we could potentially get the introduction of Ripley to the Void. We just got Nicolas Cage, and we already have Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween. Laurie's in the game. So I'm just saying, if you want to get more A-listers in there, baby, one of the quickest ways to do that is to get Sigourney Weaver in there. Yeah. So fingers crossed that that's true. But we do at least know that we are getting Xenomorph. Unfortunately, one of the things that we don't know is when. So hopefully on August 8th, when we do get more information, we'll get a calendar date for that. But I will say, if you're not playing Dead by Daylight right now, Nicolas Cage is a fucking blast to play as. So
your audio cut out for a second. You were just the audio that cut out was you saying Xenomorph, in case someone is confused.
Xenomorph.
Also, John in the chat. Hey, John, how you doing? Doesn't matter if you're here at the beginning of the show or the end of the show. You're here, and that's all that matters. Thanks for being here. PlayStation Plus editions as of today, August 1st. Dreams, a game that is on its fucking final breath, but hey, you can get it for free now. PlayStation Plus. Also, a game I loved, Death's Door, on PlayStation Plus now. Check that out if you got a PlayStation. It's very like OG Zelda adjacent, kind of isometric. He plays a little crow. Oh, it's a great game. Great music too. And then for all of you golf perverts out there, PGA Tour 2K23, get your clubs, fucking hit the links.
Do your whatever golf people do.
Yeah, fucking god damn it. And then Game Pass editions as of today, one of the best games ever made, Celeste on Game Pass. On the 3rd, so the day this releases, you're going to get a short hike on Game Pass. And then next week on the 9th, you're getting Limbo, one of the OG Xbox arcade releases, coming back to Game Pass, or coming back to Xbox rather, for free as a Game Pass game. And then a game leaving Game Pass this month, Death Stranding, middle of the month, that's going. And there's more in both lists, but I just pulled the ones that I found interesting, or that I think you might find interesting, my sweet, sweet audience.
Patrick, can I interject just quickly?
Yes.
For all of you who have PlayStation or playing on a PlayStation right now, regardless of PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PlayStation's currently just did a refresh for the summer games sale. So now is a perfect time if you are like me, who fills up their backlog with games they rarely, if ever, actually go back and play, but they feel that excitement of spending money they don't have. Let me give you a couple highlights on just some games that you can currently get right now through this deal for considerably off. First things first, you can get Twisted Metal Black Remastered. If you want to play Twisted Metal, still PlayStation 2 game is currently $5 now on the game sale.
$5. That's cheap.
My wife's, I think, current game of the year outside of Tears of the Kingdom, Dredge. You can currently get marked down to under 20 right now.
Hell yeah.
Through this sale. And there's one more in here that I wanted to point out that I think is really important. You can currently get fudging something that I completely forgot.
Well,
you can get Persona 4 Golden.
Ooh.
Is currently marked down to $13.
Let's go.
So if you've never played it and you're like, I don't want to spend $20 on this game, just get it for $13. Save a little money. But no, seriously, this summer games sale on PSN right now, these are just, I'm pulling just games that are under $20. But they've got a huge deal going on. You can get Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut for PlayStation 5. You can get it for fucking $20 right now. A great deal. Resident Evil Village, $20 right now. There's just look, just go through and your heart.
There's a lot of good shit. Ezio trilogy, like $9 right now.
Yeah.
John, you're one of us. He says $5 I shouldn't spend for a game I won't play. I'm in.
Yes, that's exactly how I work.
Also, a new release as of today too. I'm going to be talking about on the next week's show. Telltale is back.
Oh, that's right.
With The Expanse.
I love
episode 1 is out. So I remember you really loving The Expanse. I watched the first season and some change and stopped. Not with the intention of never watching again. I just stopped. So I'm hoping, my goal is that this game is so good that it gets me back on the Expanse train and I start.
I love it. I love The Expanse. My one thing, and this is something I will say about Telltale games, is that I won't play it until all episodes are out, because I can't do the whole wait a couple months for the next one.
The reason I would have waited, but they did say with this one, they've already said when all the episodes are dropping.
Ooh.
So there's not that is it going to be 5 weeks? Is it going to be 3 months? It's all of it will be out by September.
Oh, no way.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, trust in the process and see how this does.
Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll next week I'll give some thoughts on episode 1 of The Expanse. So if that's of interest to you, I hope to see you next week. Go follow us. Fucking Twitter at Spot Games Pod, Instagram, TikTok, Threads at Spotlight Games Pod, Twitch Spotlight Games Pod, YouTube Spotlight Games Pod. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can follow me at Patrick Schwag. Cayman, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at the Dumpster Boy on Twitter if Twitter's still around in 5 days. I don't post any personal stuff anywhere else. But if you haven't caught up on Save Trash Cinema's backlog, because we're still not back yet, baby. Maybe one day. We'll be back. Trust me. We'll be back. My wife has been complaining at me because I haven't been doing it, which that's crazy when that happens. But yeah, you can go follow us at Save Trash Cinema, literally everywhere at Save Trash Cinema, because why would anyone want that name for anything, right? It's what the fuck? What the fuck?
And then John closes us out by saying, follow him to work, follow him to the grocery store. Wait, nope, you already said it. We're going to be following you there. And what are we going to do when we find you? That's just between you and me, John. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great week and play some video games. Tell us what you're playing. Nick, if you're listening, you told me you were going to send me some thoughts on Final Fantasy 16. I never got them to read on the show. Fucking send them, you coward. I've been playing more Final Fantasy 16, Cayman. I don't know about that game.
Really?
I don't know about that game. I know we're going long. I mean, at this point, either you're here or you're not.
Fuck it.
It's like, that the old line from the movie, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. They haven't pulled me back in. I just think I'm out.
How?
I don't know, man. Something about it is just not fucking yanking my chain. And I'm continuing to play, but it's part of the reason I've been going through this little indie fucking era of mine. Is
little bite size.
You be getting these little bite size, little num. Because for some reason I just can't fucking get into Final Fantasy 16. And I'm pretty far in. And it's just I don't know.
Dude, trust me, I hate it when people tell you this when they're like, you just gotta wait, give it. Look, here's the thing. I was enjoying the shit out of this game well before I got to this point, but I think Patrick, get to the Titan fight.
Okay.
You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you get there.
Okay. I think Nick also told me about the Titan fight.
Get to the Titan fight. And I think at this point, you'll be like, okay, I see what people are meaning. And I hate when games do that, but let's be honest, some of our favorite games, especially the Persona games, It's just like that.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
let's do this because we're at the very end of the show, and the fact, like, I'm sure most people are gone by now.
Yeah.
Let's do some light Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, John, this is a post credit scene. Let's do some light Final Fantasy 16 spoilers. If I just warning, leave if you don't want anything. If I just fought Cayman, or rather, if I just got the lightning powers from Ramun,
yeah.
how far am I from Titan? I just did a 5-year jump. Sid is dead.
Only like maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, this next little chunk speeds up. There's going to be one moment that I will say is just kind of it's a little bit of like I get why you're doing it, but let's move this bad boy along a little bit more. And it's literally right before the Titan fight.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, man, that Titan fight is one of the most insane things I've ever experienced in a video game.
Okay, at the very least, I will get through the Titan fight. I can promise you.
It's a fucking boss fight that's like an hour long. Cool. And it's insanely awesome. And the soundtrack is fucking incredible. And like, you're just like, yeah.
I don't think it's bad by any means. I just like, and like the boss fights are fun. I just, for some reason, I don't know what it is about the story. I just like don't care. I don't know why. Like I'm really surprised by this. Like I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's just me, but for some reason I just can't like. Sometimes I'll play for 2 hours, but I'm really only playing for like 45 minutes because I'm spending an hour and 15 minutes on my phone.
The more I'd say that I feel like the more I get through. Like the more I get through the story, like the more engaged I've actually been. And I feel like a lot of Final Fantasy games, I start to fall off as I go along. This has been like the opposite. Like I won't think I was very much sold on the story early, but have really started to get like engaged and like, so Joshua, how did Joshua survive? How are we here?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Who is Ultima? That's the big thing. I will say something, and you're at a point now that you're going to you have like access, like full access to these things. And I highly recommend doing them. Use the bounty board. I think is a great way to split up your, like, it's a good way for you to be able to split up the, like your, like, okay, I'm following. Cause a lot of this game is like story. And like little side quests don't really do a ton. They add a little bit more context or flavor, but they don't really do a ton to you. And you're not going to go off on a tangent down like some mile road. Maybe later in the game you will. I don't know.
Sure.
But what I can tell you is the bounty board gives you like unique enemies that are all like boss fights, not to the same extreme.
I think I just ran into my first bounty actually.
So they
the open world.
Yeah, they story you into one.
I just fought that one.
Once you get the full bounty board, and as you progress the story, you get more of them. Dude, some of these fights are so goddamn hard.
Cool.
But they're fights that like really make you like work with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they throw in like, so a lot, like what I've been doing was like with the story was like, okay, well, it's ushering me down a path. I want to break from this path to get some fresh air. I'm going to go do one of these really cool side boss fight bounties because you also get really good crafting materials and sometimes you get gear from them. And I think it's like a really interesting way just to kind of like break up the monotony of like following this one path by doing some of those. And those, man, dude, there's one of them that it was so fucking hard. And I don't know how I survived it. And then I realized like the dude was like 10 levels above me. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, like for me right now, the biggest issue I'm running into is like I log off at 6 o'clock and I'm like, I'm so tired by 9 o'clock. I'm like, I gotta go to bed, but I have to work on the house. I'm like, don't have enough time.
You're running out of time. You don't have the hours.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a similar experience when I did the 7 remake. Like it took me a really long time to beat that game, but there was finally a moment where I was like, oh, I'm in now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, I was saying the story, but I think ultimately it does come down to the combat for me. Like I do, having played this game now for probably 15 or 20 hours, maybe more, I do prefer the turn-based combat. And so I'm wondering if that's part of it, is that this combat just isn't as fun to me. And so because that was definitely my problem with Final Fantasy VII was I just didn't love the combat, even though, a lot of people say like that's the best part of it, to each their own. So I've been kind of like waiting for the story to pull me in, and I'm hoping that it does, because I can't deny the like how well of a game, how well made it is, and like how like the quality of it and the production value, like all that shit's great. It just I don't know. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted and see if it can finally pull me back in. But
well, Godspeed, brother.
Godspeed, brother.
Brother.
All right. Well, that's the end of our post-credit scene. Until next week. Oh.